Thousands of Californians are being put back to work thanks to a grant from the federal government. But none of San Diego County's unemployed can take advantage of the opportunity. San Diego County decided not to apply for the federal stimulus funds, an estimated $11 to $18 million lost. We asked Jason Everett, research and policy analyst for the Center on Policy Initiatives, why this should have been a priority.
In San Diego, right now, you have an unemployment rate of 10%. Thousands and thousands and thousands of San Diegans are out of work, and they're looking. And this was an opportunity for the county to get money that was basically being handed to them, free money. The Inspector General who oversees the program said that she was shocked that San Diego didn't go after that money, because it's probably the easiest, most risk-free opportunities for the county to go get money to put people back to work. And the impact of that is huge. People are not on social services because they can pay their own bills. The businesses are producing more and earning more income, and the individual has that dignity, that self-respect of having a job. So the impact is huge.
VoiceOfSanDiego.org broke this story this week, and joining me now to discuss how this grant would have meant jobs for San Diegans is Scott Lewis, CEO of VoiceOfSanDiego.org. So welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Claire.
At this point, what do we know about how this grant would have worked?
Well, basically, the funds would have been used to subsidize businesses that wanted to hire employees but necessarily couldn't handle the difference between how much money they had available to pay them and how much it would actually cost to. So, for example, if a business only had $2 an hour available for an employee, obviously that's illegal to hire somebody that low, but the county, through the federal government stimulus, could have bridged that difference for them and put those people to work. LA used the program, got $62 million and used that to hire to put about 8,000 people to work.
Well, when businesses are helped to pay employees, what kind of effect does this have on the economy in general? I'm thinking about all the rest of us who wouldn't be benefiting by having our salaries paid.
Well, that's the issue. I think that the money would make the businesses, as Jason said, more productive, and hopefully then to the point where they would justify being able to pay that person on their own without this subsidy. And that's the issue. The county says that it wasn't clear what kind of strings would come attached with this, and that they might be required to pay some of it back in the future, or that it was just unclear. The question, though, comes then, why, if it were unclear or if it were risky, wasn't the county supervisors or the leadership of the county allowed to make that decision? The county supervisor, Ron Roberts, who's running for re-election, whose top priority, he says, is to create jobs, wants to know why he wasn't allowed a chance to weigh in on this decision.
What kind of oversight or communication is there when a department makes a unilateral decision that would have major implications for the community?
Well, I think that's what we're exploring. Now we're seeing a lot of talk, and they're explaining, that they had 30 conference calls to try to figure out why or how they could use this money, and decided ultimately that it wouldn't work. So, do you need to have that many conference calls, or do you need to, what happened, I think, is what's actually coming out now, and everybody's trying to decide if this were a decision that's defensible or not. And that's the kind of discussion I think we just need to have. I don't think it's altogether clear that they should have definitely gone for this money. It's just that a decision was made not to, and now money's not coming in. We need to understand why.
Well, I'm looking at some of the comments by the supervisors. Supervisors Jacobs and Cox said the staff has done a great job on getting grants, and Supervisor Horn feels assured by what the Director of Health and Human Services had to say. So when you have at least 3 of the 5 supervisors saying, looks okay to me, what chance is there for any kind of a change?
Well, that's a great question. I think Pam Slater-Price, on the other hand, who represents some of the northern part of the city and county, she said, she was troubled by this too. I think that, the county supervisors are in an awkward position where their job is to support health and human services and welfare issues like that, but on the other hand, they're very ideologically opposed in many cases to these efforts, and so they're always in a contradictory, awkward position. And I think they're inclined to trust their staff, and their staff hasn't let them down very often. But I think some are saying, well, they should have been allowed to prioritize.